Okay, quite a few people have actually asked me. It's so common that people actually ask me, what do I like better, the Diam 2 or the Bob Long Reptile VIS? Uh, Honestly, I have a really hard time with this. By the way, welcome back with Stuff with Dono, and today we're going to discuss what do I like better, the Reptile or the M2? Let's figure that out. Okay, so we're going to start off with price. I'm on ANS gear right now, and the price of the Diam 2 black, dust black and lime is $15.95. That's without the discount. And with the Reptile, it's $15.99. So it's about $50, no, sorry, $5 difference between the two. So there's, for price, not much of a difference. Every single time someone does ask me, I always give them a different answer because it kind of depends on what I'm kind of using that day. If I'm using the M2, that means I'm really feeling the M2. So it's basically like, I don't know, it's just my choice of the time. It kind of depends on my mood, right? So when I'm using the Reptile, it's going to be a Reptile. But it's so hard to actually choose from between the two because they're both really good markers. Okay, so let's talk about. Damn it. Okay, so let's talk about. Let's talk about the barrels first. Okay, so for the same price between the two guns, or two markers, I should say, they both do have barrel backs. Okay, so the Diam 2, it has the traditional, the ultralight barrel. 14-inch two-piece, and it comes with this bore size of 684 and 688. And these barrels have been around for years on end. I mean, since even before I started playing paintball, these have been around, and it feels actually like forever ago. But these barrels, they have not changed forever, and I do still love them. They have an amazing sound to it. They have accuracy, they have distance, they're nice and lightweight. They're just been fantastic markers ever since like the beginning of time. So now let's talk about the Bob Long barrel. So it comes with 3 barrel backs. It is also a 2-piece, and it comes with a bore size is 679, 685, and 691. Yeah. So it is 2-piece. Not very often that the Bob Long markers actually come with a 2-piece barrel. The G6R that I had, it did not. But these are actually fantastic markers. CP does make the barrels. Bob Long basically just gets his signature just stamped on it. And then Bob Long just written down here with the bore size on there. But these are fantastic barrels. Lots of porting. I do love on how they did the anodizing on this. With my Carbon M2, it was actually just wrapped, which was actually horrible because there's scratches still all over it, and I'm still kind of pissed about that, but that's besides the point. So yeah, for the price, you do get a better barrel. I can't really say better barrel, but more of an optional barrel with the Bob Long Reptile. However, with the M2, you do have a barrel that's always been there. It hasn't changed because there's nothing wrong with it. But the barrel sizes, I mean, they're both 14-inch. But I mean, the bore size, I'm going to have to say that you'd probably use a 688 over a 685 or a 691. But it's all really depends on you. I've been using 688 for years. Okay, so let's talk about now the grip of it. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Let's talk about the bolt. Okay, so the bolt with the M2, it does come out a lot nicer than any of the other DM series that's been out there. But it is a spool valve marker, very easy to maintain. It does come with the Billy Wing Iron Man bolt. Very nice blue. I love the blue. It looks nice. It's been working for years. Very nice, lightweight. So that's just a fantastic thing. Nice push out instead of just having it to unscrew. Unlike the Mini, unfortunately. But with the Reptile, sometimes it is pain in the ass to get out. Jeez. Like this one for right now, it's being a pain. There we go. Okay, so with the Reptile, it does come with both engines. It comes with the VIS engine, and it also comes with the VCOM engine. The VIS engine is being the poppet, and the VCOM engine being the spool. Right now I have the VIS engine inside, but it does come with more variety of engines. And outside of the Bob Long world, no one else actually gives you that choice. Sure, there is in like poppets or stack spools or even poppet spools or whatever the hell they're called, where they're more like a hybrid. But however, the Bob Long Victory line, especially with the Reptile, it actually comes with both engines, which is actually more of a fantastic thing. So if you want to change up your play style, then you can just switch out engines, and then you just have to adjust the high pressure. So, which is actually pretty awesome. So yeah, you can easily change through that. Now, some markers actually do not work during the winter. Both markers here have no problem. I've actually operated them with under 10 degrees Celsius, and they still work flawlessly. Amazing markers so far. Okay, so let's talk about the grips. Okay, so Dye has had the slimmest and most comfortable grips, even when they actually had the ultralight barrel out. In this hand, in my hands, the Dye M2 just feels so natural. It just feels so beautiful in my hands. It's just like driving a Ferrari. You know that sound that you hear when a Ferrari just drives right by. That's how this feels in the hands. It's hard to explain, but that's pretty much the same way. Okay, so they do have the slimmest grips. I think it was actually a little bit thicker than the M2 or the DM15, not TM15, the DM15, but it just feels so natural in the hands. It just feels beautiful. As for the Reptile, there's nothing wrong with the Reptile, mind you, but it's more straight edged, as the M2 is more like an hourglass. So the Reptile Bob Long has been using the same grips for years. I mean, the whole entire frame here, like the trigger frame, has been basically the exact same thing for years now. With the G6R, the Insight, the Onslaught, actually all of the G6Rs, all of the Victories, all the Insight platforms, all the only Onslaught out there. Sorry, going crazy on my mind. So, I have no problem with it. It is pretty comfortable. It's not like huge and bulky, but I don't know. They have to do something with this reg here. I mean, if they actually added just a little bit of padding like I did with this little reg grip here, I mean, that would just be fantastic. Except, with the high pressure here, there's actually like a little exhaust port. You just have to make sure that you don't cover that with the grip. So if you do buy one, you shouldn't cover that little hole. I'm sorry, I'm going to be burping throughout this whole entire video because I just had Mountain Dew and it was delicious, but it's making me burp like crazy. Okay, so now let's talk about the triggers. So once again, Bob Long has been using the same triggers for years. I think ever since 2011. I think they've been using the same trigger mechanism, I guess I should say. But the Reptile is actually different from the G6R. The G6R was more like a straight line, kind of. As for this one's more like a deuce. So there is actually nothing wrong with the trigger. I mean, when I first had a Victory, it was ripping. I did not like the deuce at all, but it still ripped like hell. However, just the mechanism on it, I don't know, it could be a little bit better. It's still good, but it could be a little bit better. It could have like a little bit of a satisfying click feeling. I don't know. But this trigger, for some reason, I think it's just because I have a blackout kit, but it keeps on unscrewing, so it has a little bit of wobble. If I actually tightened it a little bit, the wobble would go away. And with the M2, I mean, top of the line with Dye triggers. I mean, it has that perfect satisfying click to it. I just love it. It has like a 3-point adjustment. I have it really tight right now, but best trigger I've ever had on a marker in general. So honestly, hands down, I have to go with the M2 on the trigger. Okay, so let's talk about OLED screen. So as you guys may know, the die M2 has a massive. It has a massive OLED screen. It's like 1 by 1 inch or whatever, but I mean it tells you everything you ever need to know. It tells you the settings. It gives you profiles. You can fully customize everything. The boot screen or the player screen. It's completely customizable. You can really get into the pressures in there. You can change the dwell easily. But it's just, I don't know. If I went on about the boot screen, I'd be here all damn day. As for the the Reptile, they've been using it ever since the OLED G6R. Basically, I mean it's the Frenzy 4.20A or something like that that is in my Reptile, I think, and it's pretty basic. It is nice and bright, mind you, but not that I know of, but you can't really change the settings or anything. But it's just so basic. They could be a lot better with the screen. When they actually came out with the Virtue, or when Virtue actually came out with a board for these, they were supposed to be better, but these are a lot brighter. You can still change everything, but it's not customizable. So if I actually got that boot screen on like lime green, like my my Reptile, I want to keep on saying G6R. If it was like lime green, or maybe you can get a red or a nice blue, maybe pink, purple, whatever, that'd be amazing. But they're just like a pale blue, and it just gets boring after a while. Okay, so let's talk about the pressure testers. Both of them do have pressure testers. However, it would actually be better, even if you added $50 to it, it would actually be worth more while if you actually got a pressure tester with your Reptile. However, you do not get a pressure tester with your Victory Reptile. So it kind of throws off the whole entire purpose of the poppet and spool, because you can't really adjust the pressures even if you have LPR different on each engine. I mean, it's just a little bit more tricky, even though you don't have to change your LPR in each engine, but per se you do. But even if you do get a pressure tester with your Reptile, or you just buy it out of the store or whatever, the gauges on it are just not accurate. I can't really justify it, but it's just not accurate. They're tiny little things, like the size of my freaking eyeballs, if not small. Actually, no, even smaller. The size of my pupils, and they're, I don't know, it could be better. I went to Princess Auto just to get one of those massive gauges just to replace those two, and even then I'm not 100% sure it's actually accurate. As for the M2, it actually comes built in with a pressure tester, which is actually pretty awesome. It shows you LPR and HPR, so you don't have to spend that extra $50 just to get another one, and then 20 some odd dollars just to get gauges, and then another $5 each just to get fittings for them. So the fact that it actually comes with a pressure tester inside, which is actually pretty awesome. However, if you remove a red tag, you kind of eliminate that, and then you have to send it back to Dye, and they'll replace it for you, but I think it's for a price. What else is there? Milling. Let's talk about milling. So the M2, it does have nice milling. It could be better, but it's just to keep that small look to the M2. So there's not very much milling. Well, I mean, there is much milling, but it's just not artistic, you know. It's like they didn't put much thought into it. Just, curve there, curve there. As for the Reptile, it looks like a damn Reptile. I mean, look at the damn back cap. It actually has a fin. Both back caps have a fin, which is actually really awesome. There's ribs. I can't even describe it, but it actually looks awesome. Only thing I would actually change is just make the reg, I don't know what they could do with the reg, but maybe make the reg look a little bit different, look more like a Reptile. But I mean, it looks like the back of an actual alligator, and it actually looks pretty awesome. So if you really want something that's more flashy, something that actually catch someone's eye, the Reptile is awesome. So hands down with milling, it's the Reptile. But what they're actually made out of, the M2 and the Reptile, Dye and Bob Long do use high grade aluminum. So if you do want to anodize it yourself, which I'm not going to be doing with the Reptile, but I will be doing it with the M2. If you do want to anodize it yourself, they will polish no problem. They will anodize no problem. They'll come out very nice, bright colors. I mean, they're using high grade aluminum, so that's gonna be pretty good. What else is there? I mean, there's the feed neck, there's the eyes, but it's not very much of a big deal. The eyes are a little bit trickier to get into, as for they're trickier to get into with the M2, but they're pretty easy to get to with the Reptile. The feed necks are pretty good. They could change it on the Reptile, just make like more of a screw on instead of just a screw. I can't even describe it. I'm horrible at this. But they do both have on-off ASAs. Both of them are fantastic. This one's just more like a screw in, screw out. They do perch no problem. As for the M2, it's more like a lever, except the lever is actually just a bit longer. So which one do I like better? Honestly, I have no clue. It kind of depends on my mood. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the M2 just because it all comes with. But the Reptile, it does look flashy, and the fact that it's actually limited is pretty awesome. I mean, I have 005 out of 500, and that's just, it's kind of awesome that I have 1 out of 500. But I mean, both guns are just amazing markers for what you can get for the price of them. I mean, it's actually phenomenal. However, one thing I would actually change about the Dye M2, instead of having the Dye ultralights, I would have made it the Dye boomsticks. They are a little bit more pricier, and they are pretty much the exact same thing, except the Dye boomstick is just a little bit longer. But believe it or not, the ultralight, I'm pretty sure, is actually lighter than the boomstick. So, packaging, to be honest, the M2 is actually has a better packaging. But honestly, I'd actually have to go with the M2. The M2 is a pretty good marker, but the Reptile is also an amazing marker. So honestly, it kind of depends on what you want. They're both really smooth. You can both tune both of them. Both of them have trigger adjustment. Both can have spool. Both have LPR and HPR, of course. Both have amazing eyes. You can't really upgrade either of them unless they're completely aftermarket. The Dye M2, I don't think... Well, I know the Dye M2 doesn't have a limited run, but the Reptile does. If you want something unique, go with the Reptile. But other than that, I mean, they're both fantastic markers for something that is the exact same price, brand new. So that's all I can really say about either of them. It all depends on what you want, personally. So thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you guys would actually prefer between the M2 and the Reptile. Actually, you know what? Before I go, I'm going to weigh them both without the barrel. That's grams. That's ounces. Okay, so in pounds. Okay, so the Reptile is almost 2 pounds. It's 1.991 pounds. And that is without the barrel. And they both do have batteries, as you guys saw. Now the M2 is 1.68 pounds. So the M2 is actually lighter. But then if you want to put the barrel on it, well, it kind of depends on what barrel you actually have. It could be the Deadly Winds for all I know, and it could all change. That's why I don't weigh it with the barrel. Okay, so once again, let me know which marker you would prefer. If you have shot both markers, which one, again, would you prefer? Which one do you think comes with more? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah. Let me know. Have a great one, guys.